coming through my shirt. Keep pushing even though it hurts.
I wonder what Olympic medals sell for. Because I have one now. Oh, wait. Oh, how are you doing?
I have new ones for tonight.
There you go. So I'm Roger Wakefield. I am just a plumber. And the funny thing about that is it's true. I've got a Texas plumbing license. I hold every endorsement in Texas. I learned that the more that I learned, the more money I could make. The more I learned about plumbing, the more knowledge I had, the more value I brought to the companies that I work for. And it was really pretty cool. I learned that if I learned to do things different, if I learned to do things better than everybody else, how many of y'all wanted to be the cheapest person in town when you grew up? Yeah, I didn't either. And people talk to me about plumbing. They're like, you know, Roger, look, you're expensive. It's like, okay. You got to learn to sell the value. And a lot of people never learn to do that. So I love all the speakers ahead of me. Kind of like Jen said, look, they made my job easy. Because I can get up here and tell you about YouTube. But when I got the message from Jessica about Meraki, I thought, okay, wait, what is that? So I did some research on it. And then I started looking at how I actually use these principles each and every day in what I do in YouTube. And it's not just YouTube, it's social media. Because what I teach people nowadays is I teach people how to do social media. Now, Chad's right. I've been on Dr. Phil. I've been on the Today Show. I've been on Chris Cuomo with Mike Rowe. And it's because of social media. Because they reached out to me and said, hey, we're doing something. You know, Dr. Phil, we want to talk about the shortage of people in the trades. Will you come be on the show? Sure. No, I'm busy that day. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I am. I'm a plumber. I started plumbing in 1980. Those of y'all that saw my presentation last year, I mean, I have pictures of me, you know, bent over underwater, doing crazy, funky stuff. But that's what the job took. Now I'm a speaker. I travel around the country and speak. I teach people how to do social media. I teach people how to do YouTube. I put together a YouTube course. I'm a plumber that sells a YouTube course for $1,500. Wow, it's kind of cool. But really, I'm a YouTuber. Because what I do is I teach people. I literally, when I started YouTube, and I'll take just a second and tell you my story. How many of y'all are marketers? You may not want to raise your hand, because I don't like marketers, okay? I started doing social media because I literally got tired of getting ripped off by marketing companies. Every time I called a marketing company, the first thing they said is, well, we need to rebuild your website. First words out. They can't fix it. It's like, man, I'm a plumber. Do you want to call me and me just walk in and say, I need to rebuild all the plumbing in your house? Well, my toilet's just leaking. Okay? But that's what they wanted to do. So I got tired of getting ripped off. I literally went to a conference. I'm speaking at a conference, and I'm going up the escalator, and my phone rings. And it's my CSR, my customer service representative. And she says, Roger, the phones aren't ringing. I said, I know. Thank you so much for turning them off while I'm at the show. She says, no, the phones are not ringing here. Now, I had just hired a new marketing company. They were going to do a lot of cool stuff. They were going to launch it the day before I left, which was great. They were going to launch it, do everything at night. Well, the next day, the phone stopped ringing completely. Now, imagine what business you're in. Imagine driving down the road, throwing $47,000 cash out the window, knowing that when you get to the office, the phones are not going to be ringing. Not at all. Because that's where I was at. So I started doing research. I had wanted to learn social media. I had actually talked to marketing companies about social media. And the feedback that I got was tomorrow's National Pizza Day. Make a post. And I'm like, I don't know what you know about plumbing, but the only thing pizza has to do with plumbing is when it comes out. So I decided that was probably not the people that I wanted to talk to. I've been a plumber for more than 40 years. I knew how to plumb. I had actually joined the union after 17 years of plumbing. And in about 10 years, I had moved up to one of the top superintendents in the union. I remember being in one of the largest mechanical contractors in Dallas one day in the vice president's office, and we're sitting there talking about payroll and labor and this and that. And he looked at me and said, you know, Roger, you're one of 5 superintendents that can run $20 million a year jobs. You're one of 2 superintendents that can run a $100 million job. He says, you're good at what you do. I said, well, then you need to pay me more. So anyway, that's a whole different story. But I just started YouTube 7 years ago. Literally just over 7 years ago, I went to a conference the end of February, the 1st of March. March 1st is actually the day that I heard a guy speak, and he walks out on stage, and he says, YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world. And I shut my notebook. I thought, this guy's stupid. He has no idea what he's talking about. I put my hand on the chair next to me, and I stand up to raise around, and I look, and the back of the room is about that wide, and it's standing room only. So I turned back around and looked up in time to hear him say, and it's owned by Google, the largest search engine in the world. Now, how many of y'all knew that YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine and Google's the largest? Okay, y'all know more about social media than I did when I started. So I want y'all to remember that. Those of y'all that don't know me or have never seen me or know nothing about me, if you've got YouTube on your phone, pull out your phone, go to YouTube, search the word plumbing. And we'll come back to that in a minute. But I want y'all to remember that. 7 years ago. Now, there have been a lot of great speakers up here and so many different things that they talk to y'all about. So the one thing that I want to tell you about before I get too deep into this, that same conference I went back and spoke at this year. And every time that I go to that conference, they always ask me one question. Roger, what is the one thing that you did that nobody else here did? Because I think that year that I went, there were about 5,000 or 6,000 people there. Now, when you search the word plumbing, just scroll down and look for a mustache. It's normally right above a red shirt. But they said, what is the one thing that you did? Well, to be honest, the one thing I did is I had to leave early. I had to leave the conference early. I didn't even get to stay for the last keynote speaker. I got on the plane. There's nobody in the seat next to me. So I've got my laptop, my iPad, my notebook, and all these little notepads that are laying around that you take notes on. And I've got it pulled out. There's nobody next to me, so both tray tables are down. I've got all this in front of me. On the plane ride, on the way home, I started coming up with an implementation plan because my business was failing. My business was not working. My business was not making the income, and I had 7 families depending on me for payroll every week. And it's not just the 7 families, it's the guys that trust me. It's the wives that help support their husbands while they're working for me. It's the kids that come to the family events that we do that love what we do. And I'm thinking, I can't let them down. So literally, I'm coming up with an implementation plan. Y'all are going to take a lot of notes. I want you to come up with an implementation plan. Because if you don't, what happens is Monday, when you get back to the office and you go in, you sit down, shit happens. Don't be offended by that. I'm a plumber. It's a technical term. But it does. It happens. And when it happens, it's really easy just to say, you know what, I'll do that tomorrow. There's a song by Garth Brooks, Tomorrow Never Comes. Okay? Once you put it off one day, it's easy to put it off another. It's easy to put it off another. Well, that next morning, the reason I had to leave early that Friday is that I had a radio show Saturday morning in Dallas. I did it once a month, and it just happened to be that Saturday. So I got up, went to the radio show, went back home, dropped off my stepson, who had gone to the radio show with me, went to the office, and worked till about 6 o'clock that evening, going through my notes. I'd met a speaker coach named Pete Vargas the first day, did a 90-minute presentation saying, look, get in front of your customers on stage. I thought, wow, you know what, that would be great to do. Then the next day, I learned about YouTube. Now, there were a lot of other people along the way, but I want y'all to think about this because at the age of 54, when you go to a social media marketing conference, you go to learn Facebook because that's what social media is. I literally had no idea what YouTube was. So when opportunities come along, you've got to look at it and say, is this really an opportunity or is this a distraction? And I said, you have to decide. I want to teach you about the word decide. It leads to decision. And every time you make a decision, you change your future. And I want you to think about that because when you walk out of here at the end of the day tomorrow, you're going to have to decide, am I going to take what I learned and do something with it? Or am I going to wait till the next day? That's up to you. So I'm a plumber. I'm a tradesman. I work with my hands. And what I found out about Meraki, it's about creating. It's about putting your soul into what you do. It's about love. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever been with a tradesman, dated a tradesman, married a tradesman, and I say men. I've gone out with female tradespeople before. We're the most prideful people in the world. If we ride down the road together and I say, oh my God, you see that building? You know I built that, right? It's like, yeah, I know. How do you know? You tell me every time we drive into Dallas. Okay, just making sure you know. But that's really what it's like. We take so much pride in everything we do. I remember being at Social Media Marketing World one year, and I'm talking to a guy, a pizza guy, and we sit there and talk, and somebody comes up, and I realize I'm late. I'm like, guys, I got to get. So I take off, and he looks at the pizza guy and says, hey, does Roger really love plumbing like he talks about? And he's like, oh my God, have you ever seen his videos? And the guy hadn't. But I ended up seeing that guy the next day. He said, dude, I stalked you last night. I said, that's kind of weird coming from a guy, but you know. He said, no. He said, you really love what you do. So I want you to think about that. Whatever it is you do, whatever it is you want to make YouTube videos about, it needs to be something you love. It needs to be something that you love so much you can talk about it every day the rest of your life. Have y'all watched Austin? I mean, Austin gets excited talking about what he does. He gets excited talking about automation. He gets excited talking about the way it sets up, the way it talks to each other, the way, did you see the way I mentioned my company there? Guys, when you're doing what you love, you get freaking excited about it. After I went to that first conference, I didn't hire a coach. I thought, you know what, don't know if y'all know this, you can get on YouTube and learn how to do YouTube. It's kind of crazy the way that works. I tried it plumbing. I sat on the toilet. I didn't learn anything. But YouTube's a little bit, yeah, y'all think about that for a minute. But YouTube's different. It really is a search engine. You can find what information you're looking for. But here's what you're not going to learn, okay? Because after that conference that I went to where I learned about YouTube, we literally started within 30 days posting 3 videos a week. And guys, that's not easy to do. A little bit later, I went to another conference, like 6 months later, went to another conference where I met my first YouTube coach. I went out and had him do a channel audit. Jeremy's doing channel audits over here. Jeremy was my first coach. So I walk out in the hallway and he's doing these audits and I'm sitting there talking to him. And he goes through this audit and he looks at me and says, look, you're doing some good stuff. You just don't know what you're doing. How many of y'all are in a business where you don't know what you're doing? But if you had the right coach, if you had the right leadership, if you read the right book, it could completely change. So I go to that conference, I meet Jeremy, and Jeremy says, look, I live like 30 miles from you. I'm like, what? We're in LA. He's in McKinney. I'm in Garland, Richardson, Saxe. He says, yeah. He says, if you ever want to talk, let's talk. I think it was a week later, I'm like, hey man, I need to learn this. Because in 6 months, I had 117 subscribers. Okay? That's embarrassing. But that's where I was at. But I had learned how to do this myself. I think I hired Jeremy by October or something. By the end of the year, I had 350, and I'm like, yes. By the next year, I think I had 10,000. It takes knowledge and information to learn to grow. You've got to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, if you suck at what you're doing and you just keep doing it, guess what? You're going to suck harder. I'm being honest. Back to Meraki. You can't fake heart. Okay? When people watch my video, when people see me, I remember one time, one of the last plumbing jobs that I actually went out on, I'm crawling around under a house, one of the largest real estate brokers in Dallas, and I'm crawling under his house. This was a house that was built in the very early 1900s, and man, I'm just in awe about all this crazy stuff and the way I'm seeing it, the way I'm finding it, and all the crazy crap that had been done to work on it throughout the years. But I'm sitting down here thinking, and I'm excited. I got like a GoPro with me. I got like a headlight on, and I'm crawling around like a little rat under the house. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so much fun. Now, I know most of y'all wouldn't think that's fun. I understand. Sitting there putting a bazillion crystals or whatever you call them on a piece of plastic, that would not do anything for me. But when I see the final product, I'm like, oh my God, that is beautiful. I've already got her a new customer. She just doesn't know it yet. You're welcome. Guys, when I turn on the camera, I'm not acting. I'm bringing value. And to me, that's what it's all about. One of the first things that I learned is, how long does a video need to be? It needs to be as long as it takes to deliver the message, to bring value to people. I don't need to make a 10-minute video. Matter of fact, I wish I'd have made one video about 20 seconds longer, because to be honest now, I shoot for 8-minute videos. That's how long they have to be to get mid-roll ads. That's where you make more money. But really, I don't make enough off of them to worry about. I make my money through sponsorships. This is one of the greatest things that I learned from Jeremy, because I was really good at going viral. I could come up with great ideas of, oh my God, people are not going to believe this. I test stuff. I have fun. I still go viral every now and then. I made a video recently about glued together copper. Now, if a plumber came in your house and said he was going to glue the copper together, would y'all know that that's not a good thing? Plumbers use solder and press fittings and shark bites, and I say that very gently. But I found this glue, and I glued copper together. And we put it in a blast chamber, because I built a blast chamber so I can make really cool videos. My welded fitting on the gauge blew apart at 7,000 PSI. The copper that I glued together did not blow apart. We finally got it fixed, so I'm going to do that video again. That one went pretty viral. Plumbers were like, what the heck? I don't think that's what they said, but it sounded something similar. I created a webinar because I had people tell me, look, I can't do YouTube. How many of y'all think you cannot do YouTube? You're just like, yeah, I can't do that. Good. I love this. Y'all, I saw one hand kind of go up like that a little bit. You didn't think I'd catch you, did you? Guys, here's the deal. You got an iPhone. You got a laptop. You've got an iPad. I literally started shooting my first videos on my laptop, sitting on my desk, rolling my chair back far enough where I'm in position on the screen the way I want to be seen. And I'm talking really loud because I want the laptop to hear me because I didn't even have a microphone. But you know what? I started and I did it every freaking day. And it leads to other things. You don't try to go viral. You give them what they're looking for. People will remember the impact you have. Y'all have heard the phrase, people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? How many of y'all agree with that? Y'all wrong. People buy from people they know, love, trust, and they're connected to. If you're not connected to them, they're not buying shit from you. They can connect with you, they can like you, that they can see you. I think I get to beat television every day. Every single day. Because when people come in and comment on my video, guess what? I comment back. They can talk to me. I'm real. They see me out at a conference. I don't have 10 security guards around me making sure nobody touches me. They come up. I've seen grown men come up and hug me crying saying, you changed my life. You have the ability to impact people's lives. You have a story that somebody needs to hear. You know, I was out at my sister's house the other day, and I went in her bathroom, and she's got all kinds of stuff on the walls, you know, to keep your attention, I guess, while you're working. I'm a plumber. I could have been working. She had a sign on her wall that says, I remember from when I used to pray for what I have now. There's somebody out there that needs to hear your story so they know what's possible for them. If we don't tell our stories, people don't know. AI, there's a lot of talk about it, and we use it. It's great for ideation. It's great for, hey, help me do something. It's great for, what are the best things that I could make a video about today that have the possibility of going viral? But remember, it's not just viral. Impact. I made a video one day, my stepson, we set up a camera, we pulled this toilet that I've cut the back out of where I could really demonstrate how to do a repair in it. I've got on my bright orange shirt, I've got on my green gloves, I've got on my safety glasses, I'm doing everything right, and we shot this video, and he goes in, he edits it. It's coming out today at 5 o'clock, not today, that day. He goes in, he edits it, posts it, and he comes into my office. He says, man, I got to tell you. He said, that video sucks. I said, why? He said, because you didn't tell any stories. You didn't really communicate a lot. You started the video like, hey, let's fix this toilet. How to fix a running toilet, guaranteed. Remember, Jeremy told me don't go viral. If you don't go viral, you go evergreen. That is, that one video that sucks, remember, has made me about $54,000 from YouTube, but it's helped 5.5 million people fix a running toilet. That's impact. The stories that I get. I remember a guy messaging me one day, and he says, thank you for giving me back hot water. And then he writes an article. He's a veteran, not very mobile, lived in a trailer home that had a leak and started shifting and the water heater fell out, and when it did, it busted the water lines. And he hadn't had water for 6 months. His community got together and came over and helped him elevate the home, put the water heater back in, hook the water lines back up, but the water heater was broken. And he said, Roger, I watched your video about how to fix a gas valve on a water heater. And I contacted the manufacturer, and they sent me a free gas valve. He went out and fixed his water heater himself. He said, I didn't have water for 6 months. I didn't have hot water for 3 months. But you gave me back hot water. To me, that was a video. That's all it was. It's a video where I'm helping people, where I'm teaching people. But you never realize the impact that you can have. We talk about consistency. If you want to grow in anything you do, build a community. I can't even tell you how many people I've met at conferences because of the communities that I've built, the connections I've made, the people that I get to talk to each and every day. It takes tools to do it. Austin showed you tools about AI. AI can tell you how to improve your message, how to change your message. What message are other people not talking about that you could be? If you learn to talk to it the right way, it's amazing. Jeremy's got a tool that literally looks at even a YouTube channel like mine and tells me what I'm doing wrong. If I want to get better, what's it like? You really need to hear him talk tomorrow because he goes through and takes what he's learning, puts it into AI, and makes it do magic. And I looked through it, and look, I was in YouTube training all last week. 5 days straight. My mind's numb. But the things that I learn are like, wow. You've got high level over here. If you are not using a product like that, a CRM, to build better relationships with your community, to engage with them, to talk to them, to listen to them, it's not just talking. It's finding out what's going on. If you take pride in what you do, if you love what you do, and one thing that I'll tell people too is whatever you do, is there something you can specialize in? Is there something that you can do that nobody else does? Me as a plumber, slab leaks, leak detection, whole house water filtration. I can talk to you about any of it all freaking day long because I love it and I get excited about it. First of all, you're going to build it. Build a YouTube channel. How many of y'all searched plumbing a while ago? How many of y'all found the white mustache above the red shirt? Sarah, did it work? Now imagine what niche or industry you're in. What word do you wish people could go search on the second largest search engine in the world that's owned by the largest search engine in the world? What word do you wish that they could search and find you? Because you can also put in HVAC, you can also put in slab leaks, leak detection. My list of words just keeps growing. I looked a while ago. I think we just went over 130 million views, okay, in 7 years. 670,000 subscribers on YouTube, 600,000 on TikTok, 100,000 on Instagram. That's how I share it. I teach YouTube because YouTube is long-form content that you can cut and share in other places. So you build it. You share it, and the impact that you can have on you and your family, on your community, and on the world is amazing. All you've got to do is go create. I teach people how to do this because I learned how to do it. And if I learned how to do it, any of y'all can do it. And I know you can, because I'm Roger Wakefield, more than just a plumber. Thanks, guys.
More than